Torque is a measure of rotational force. It's calculated by, in simple terms, force multiplied by distance to the force from the axle. For example, if force is F, and distance to the force from the axle or the lever arm is r, the torque is symbolized with tau. S is a Greek letter used to symbolize torque and is called tau. Is going to looks like this. Let's draw an axle. And let's say this is a piece of wood. One end is a heavy object. Let's call distance from the axle to object r1. And axle to the opposite edge r2. Gravity pushes down from here. And to lift the heavy object up by using minimum counter force as possible, you need to apply it as far away from the axle as possible. A gear system use the same principle. Okay. Let's draw some wheels to see how to increase torque. Here's a small wheel that turns by a motor. That wheel is touching a bigger wheel. And that wheel has a smaller wheel attached in the middle, and that wheel is touching another big wheel. This wheel turns this way, this one turns this way, and this one turns this way. Let's say this wheel turns by a motor that put out about 5 feet-pound of torque. And the radius of the small wheel is 2 feet. Let's say radius of all the small wheels are 2 feet and all the big wheels are 4 feet, so is easy to work with. This turns this way and we need to find the force right here. Let's call it F1. So to calculate, torque equals radius times force. We know the torque. We know the radius and we need the force. So 5 feet-pound equals 2 feet times F1. We can divide the whole thing by 2 feet. And we get 2.5 pounds equals F1. So F1 equals 2.5 pounds. Now we can find out the torque in the second wheel. Let's call it torque 2. So we need to find torque 2. We know the radius, we know the force. So torque equals 4 feet times 2.5 pounds. So torque 2 equals 10 feet-pound. This is torque 2. We can see increase of the torque. Now we can find out the force in here. Let's call it F2. Let's calculate that. Torque 2 equals radius times F2. So 10 feet-pound equals 2 feet times F2. We can divide the whole thing with 2 feet. So 5 pounds equals F2. We can see the increase of force. Now we can calculate the torque in the third wheel. We can call this torque 3. So torque equals radius times force. Torque 3 equals 4 feet times 5 pounds. Torque 3 equals 20 feet-pound. We start with 5 feet-pound of torque and we end up with 20 feet-pound of torque. Please subscribe. In next video I'll show you how to make a high torque motor.